I was dating this guy, and after he lost his memory, he kept insisting I was his stepmom. His billionaire father offered me $30 million. Play along, help him recover his memories. Later, when he finally remembered everything, he came to me with tears in his eyes.SIS, you promised you'd love me forever. His dad shut the door with a cold expression. His tone casual. Show some respect. Your mother didn't get enough rest last night. Let her sleep. When River first got together with me, he mentioned he had a complicated family. I almost laughed. Like, which rich family isn't complicated? Back then, I just wanted to hook up with him. So I nodded dismissively, baby. No family drama could stop me from running straight into your arms. River was so moved, he agreed to be my boyfriend on the spot. Then the next day, he got into a car accident and lost his memory. When the hospital called, I was at a bar with my best friend Jade, chatting excitedly. You know what the hardest thing in the world is? Diamonds? No. An 18-year-old. Before I could finish, my phone on the table started ringing. A deep, unfamiliar male voice came through. Is this Miss Aurora Blake? His voice had this low, magnetic quality that somehow cut through the noisy bar music. Actually pretty attractive. Yes, who's this? Instead of answering, he said calmly. Please come to Central City Hospital as soon as possible. River's been in an accident. My puppy boyfriend that I've been dating for less than 24 hours was in an accident. I rushed to the hospital. Found River's room. His forehead was wrapped in bandages. His young, handsome face covered in scrapes. A man stood by the bed, nearly 6'3". In a sharp suit, expression cold and stern. When he heard me come in, River looked up. Mom. You're here. I couldn't believe it. What did you just call me? Mom. He frowned, looking confused. What's wrong? I was about to roll up my sleeves and set him straight, when the man standing by the bed like a piece of furniture finally moved. He raised his hand, blocking my path, nodding slightly. Miss Blake, let's talk outside. The man wore a watch on his wrist. A Patek Philippe worth over $1 million. He looked 30 at most. Hair perfectly styled. Strikingly handsome face, sharp nose. Thin lips pressed together. Those eyes looking at me with an inexplicable coldness and scrutiny. Outside the hospital room, standing in the corridor, he told me River had hit his head in the accident, and his memories were scrambled. That's why he thought I was his stepmother. I said, oh. And asked, and you are? My name is Ethan. Same last name. I nodded knowingly. Got it. You're River's older brother. No, I'm his father. Like a bolt of lightning struck me. I stared at him in shock. You're joking, right? River is 18. You look maybe 30. And now you're telling me you're his dad. Ethan frowned slightly. That's when I noticed he did share some resemblance with River. Around the eyes. Miss Blake. Let me correct two things. River isn't my biological son, but we are blood relatives. And he's not 18. He's 16. Everything went dark. If River hadn't gotten into that accident tonight, this weekend, I would have been in serious trouble. First floor, hospital cafe. Ethan and I sat across from each other. This was a private hospital with expensive fees. Even the coffee cost a fortune. I ordered a simple iced Americano, and it was 3 digits. One sip, and I almost spit it out. More bitter than my life. Ethan sat across from me, calmly repeating. In short, the doctor said River's injury is serious. Creating an environment consistent with his memories will help his recovery. I hope you can cooperate with me, Miss Blake. I laughed coldly. Mr. Ethan's fatherly love is truly touching. Unfortunately, just 1 minute ago, I decided to break up with River. Are you kidding me? I'm only 25. Why would I play stepmom to my almost adult ex-boyfriend? I stood to leave. Ethan didn't move. Just said calmly behind me, 30 million. My feet stopped dead. I turned around. US dollars. Yes. I don't believe you put it in writing. Then Ethan actually called his lawyer. Right there in the hospital cafe in front of me. They drafted a contract. The contract said if I lived with him as husband and wife for 3 years and helped River recover his memories, I'd get $30 million in compensation. After taxes. I'd pay $10 million upfront. And in 3 years, whether River recovered or not, he'd pay the remaining $20 million. After signing, Ethan transferred $10 million to me on the spot. I counted the zeros twice. Tears in my eyes as I put away my phone. Daddy, whatever you need. Just ask. Nathan stood up, reminding me coolly, Miss Blake. From now on, you need to change how you address me. I adapted quickly. Yes, honey. No problem, honey. Are we going to see our son now, honey? 3 days later, River was discharged. I packed my things and moved into the Ethan family standalone mansion near downtown. Actually, I thought Ethan looked familiar from the start. After thinking about it, I finally remembered. He'd been on a business magazine cover as an outstanding young entrepreneur in the city. Never thought I'd end up connected to him like this. The whole way, River clung to my arm, whispering, Mom, you need to keep a close eye on Dad. If you can't stop him from being with other women, at least don't let him transfer assets out of the marriage. Mommy knows. I lovingly patted my grown son's head, feeling conflicted. Just 3 days ago, I'd been fantasizing about some very inappropriate scenarios involving him and me. Now, suddenly, he was 2 years younger. And I'd gone up a generation. Can't think about this anymore. Keep going and it'll turn into some forbidden stepmother story. Second night living at the Ethan house. I rolled up my bedding and moved into Ethan's room. Warm yellow light filled the room. He sat at his desk, wearing glasses, flipping through a book. I glanced at it. The title was some obscure economic terms. Probably some economics text. Being the blanket in my arms. Ethan raised an eyebrow and put down his book. Miss Blake, we're just acting. You really don't need to go this far. I took a deep breath, my tone sharp. You think I want to? Mr. Ethan. I don't date men older than me. River spent the whole evening asking if we sleep in separate rooms. Because our relationship is bad. I couldn't answer him. In River's confused memories, I was the only stepmother he recognized. Ethan was a playboy. His gold-digging girlfriends all wanted to climb the social ladder and replace me as Mrs. Ethan. By the end, his eyes were red, looking at me stubbornly. Mom. No matter how much of a player Dad is, I only recognize you. Sigh. Such a good kid. What a waste. Ethan rubbed his temples, nodding. Understood. The bed's yours. I rolled around on the bed with my blanket and passed out. When I woke up, it was bright outside. Rubbing my sleepy eyes, I yawned and headed to the bathroom. But as soon as I opened the door. I ran straight into Ethan. His shirt was unbuttoned, hair still dripping water. Even his eyelashes had water droplets on them. Just woke up. Brain a bit slow. My gaze traveled downward until I saw his ABS. And finally snapped to attention. Ethan looked down at me, his eyes unreadable. I even felt like he was waiting for me to have some exaggerated, flustered reaction to achieve some goal of his. So I smiled, put my hand on his shoulder, and winked suggestively. Honey. Not going to the office today. Ethan looked at me, didn't move. I kept teasing him, my fingertip trailing water from his shoulder down to his chest. Want to try making this fake marriage real? Ethan's lips curved slightly. Suddenly he picked me up and tossed me onto the bed. I sprang up like a fish, glaring at him warily. Ethan, that costs extra. He stood by the bed, looking down at me. Lips quirked. Miss Blake. I'm not interested in my son's girlfriend. This round was a draw. Ethan dried his hair, went to the walk-in closet to change, and returned to his usual dignified, aloof appearance. Miss Blake. When you have time, remember to accept my friend request. With that, Ethan left without looking back. I lay on the bed, spacing out for a while. Then picked up my phone. Sure enough, there was a new friend request. After accepting, Ethan didn't waste words. Just sent a group chat. Link Central High School. Grade 12, Class 6. It was River. School parent group. Parent-teacher conference tonight. I have a client meeting. Can't make it. I'll have to trouble you to go. Miss Blake. Standing at River's classroom door. My feelings were extremely complicated. I'd met him at the university basketball court near my apartment. Back then he lied and said he was 18. A college freshman. Turns out the kid was a high school senior. Mom. As soon as River saw me, he rushed over enthusiastically. My seat's over there. My name's on the desk. But as soon as I sat down, the lady next to me with her Hermes bag spoke up. You're River's mother. Yes. She smiled without warmth. You look quite young. I flipped through River's test papers, showing his terrible grades in certain subjects. Answering casually, stepmother. The conference ended an hour and a half later. I lagged behind a few steps. And as I left, I overheard her gossiping with another wealthy mom. Looks barely older than the kid. Got them all wrapped around her finger. Quite the schemer. Right. We should tell the teacher. Sitting at a parent conference with some woman who married up. It's beneath us. Obviously talking about me. I pulled up my lips, grabbed my $5 canvas tote bag, and squeezed between them with a fake smile. Excuse me. Hey. As they called out indignantly, I turned back, flashing a vixen smile. You two really should take better care of yourselves. Who knows? In 2 years, the girlfriend your sons bring home might be me. Then I sailed away under their shocked, angry stares. Light rain was falling outside. River had already gone home. I pulled out my phone and saw my best friend Jade calling Aurora. Blake. Where the heck have you been? A whole week without contact. Did you get married or something? She always talked nonsense. But this time she actually guessed right. I flagged down a taxi and got in. Yeah, are you kidding? Your boyfriend's only 18. Not even legal marriage age. I married his dad. This time. Even worldly. Jade fell silent. After a deathly quiet moment, she hung up, then sent me a bar location on text. Explained in person. I gave the driver the address, put away my phone, and cracked the window slightly, feeling the rain mist on my face. I've always gotten car sick, so when I walked into the bar, my stomach still felt slightly queasy. Sitting in the booth, I gave her a quick summary, and at the end showed her the 8-figure balance in my bank account. Actually, Ethan's even more handsome than his son. Shame he's too old. Violates my only date. Younger guy's principle. Jade looked bewildered. What kind of supernatural experience is this? Can we still go out and flirt with hot guys together? I picked up my glass and downed the entire Baileys. Long as Ethan doesn't find out. Should be fine, right? The light in front of me suddenly dimmed. I looked up to see a familiar, handsome face, expression still indifferent, but eyes emanating an inexplicable coldness. Miss Blake, since you took the money, I hope you can at least have some sense of contract. The alcohol made my brain sluggish. Everything felt fuzzy. Looking at Ethan's deadpan face, I blurted out, the contract just says we're married. It doesn't say I can't cheat. Right? Very. Unfortunately, the bar music stopped at exactly that moment, and my voice was a bit loud from being intoxicated. Under the gaze of the entire bar, Jade, across from me, silently pulled out a mask and covered her face. Ethan's lips twitched slightly. He leaned down, picked me up, and hung my cheap canvas bag on his arm. Before leaving, he turned to Jade. He's had too much. I'll take her home. I curled up in Ethan's passenger seat, enjoying his smooth driving, when I suddenly realized something. I only get car sick. I don't get sick in Lamborghinis. What kind of champagne taste on a beer budget tragedy is this? Damn. The car was silent except for the faint smell of alcohol. I shifted to a more comfortable position, turned to Ethan, and asked, "Didn't you say you had a client meeting? How'd you end up at the bar?" "Finished the meeting and was about to leave, when I happened to see you get out of a cab and go into the bar. So I followed. My vision went dark. So how much of my conversation with my friend did you hear?" "There was a red light ahead. He hit the brakes. One hand on the steering wheel, turned to look at me, lips curving. All of it. I closed my eyes in despair, pretending to be tipsy. Without realizing it, I actually fell asleep. When we got home, River was still up. He sat on the couch playing games. Seeing Ethan helping me inside, he rushed over. "Dad, did you make Mom mad? Why would she go drowning her sorrows in alcohol?" Ethan lied smoothly. "Your mother's happy. At the parent conference today, your teacher specifically praised you. Said you've made great progress." "Really?" River was skeptical. Ethan nodded. "Go to bed early. Play less games. This is the most critical year. Can't slack off." He helped me upstairs, turning into the hallway out of Riverside. I suddenly opened my eyes, grabbed his wrist, and pinned him against the wall. My voice, tinged with alcohol, was sweet enough to drip. Honey. Ethan looked down at me today at the parent conference. The other parents all said I was your woman who married up. I smiled, tilted my chin up, slowly moving closer to him. You know what? When I first met your son, this is exactly how I flirted with him. I thought Ethan would push me away coldly. But under the warm yellow hallway light, his eyes darkened, and instead he grabbed my chin, about to lean down and kiss me. Footsteps approached from nearby. That kiss never landed, just brushed gently past my cheek. Ethan pressed my head against his shoulder, turning to look at a shocked River. "Dad." River's voice cracked. It was the quintessential sound of a 16-year-old whose worldview was tilting on its axis. "Why are you sniffing Mom?" Ethan didn't flinch. He didn't jump away like a guilty teenager. Instead, his hand, which had been cradling the back of my head, slid down to my shoulder, steadying me with a terrifyingly casual possession. "Your mother," Ethan said, his voice flat and devoid of the heat that had been there a split second ago, almost tripped. "New heels. Not used to them." I buried my face in his expensive suit jacket, inhaling the scent of sandalwood and cold cash, trying to suppress a drunken giggle. "Smooth, Mr. Billionaire." River narrowed his eyes, walking closer. He was wearing SpongeBob pajama pants, which really killed the tension. "She smells like a distillery." Socializing with other parents, Ethan lied effortlessly. "It's exhausted her." "Go to bed, River. Don't make me repeat myself." River hesitated, looking between us. His stepmom, protective instincts were warring with his fear of his father. Finally, the dad fear won. "Fine. But Mom, drink some water." "Dad, don't you dare lecture her tonight." River stomped off to his room. As soon as his door clicked shut, the strength went out of my legs. Ethan scooped me up bridal style before I could hit the floor. He carried me into the master bedroom, kicked the door shut, and dumped me onto the mattress. It wasn't gentle. It was the drop of a man whose patience was hanging by a thread. "Ow," I muttered, rolling onto my back. "Customer service, 0 stars." Ethan loosened his tie, staring down at me. The hallway heat was gone, replaced by that inscrutable, icy mask. "You are testing boundaries, Aurora." "I thought we were acting," I slurred, reaching up to poke the air near his face. "Method acting. The loving wife. Go to sleep." He turned off the main light, leaving only the bedside lamp on. I watched him through half-lidded eyes as he took his pillow and walked toward the chaise lounge by the window. He was actually going to sleep on the uncomfortable sofa again. Ethan, I whispered. He paused. You liked it? He didn't answer. He just threw the blanket over himself and turned his back to me. But I saw his knuckles white as he gripped the fabric. The next 2 weeks were a bizarre mix of domestic sitcom and high-stakes corporate espionage. My job, according to the contract, was to create a loving maternal environment. My interpretation of this was playing Mario Kart with River and ordering Uber Eats when the chef was off. River was recovering fast. The bandages came off, revealing a handsome face that was undeniably a younger, softer copy of Ethan's. But his memory was still Swiss cheese. He remembered the layout of the house and how to solve a quadratic equation, but he still thought I was the love of his father's life who had stepped in to raise him. Mom, River groaned one Tuesday afternoon. We were in the library. He was grappling with AP history, I was grappling with a fashion magazine. Dad is going to kill me. I got a C on the mock exam. A C. I lowered my magazine. That's average. Average is good. It keeps you humble. Ethan Vance doesn't do average, River muttered. He barely looks at me as it is. If I fail, he's going to ship me to boarding school in Switzerland. I frowned. I'd noticed the dynamic. Ethan provided everything, money, security, the best doctors, but he treated River like an employee he was considering firing. Give it here, I said, snatching the textbook. I was a history whiz. I was not. I barely graduated because I was too busy chasing the captain of the volleyball team. That evening, when Ethan came home, the atmosphere was frigid. He walked in, tossed his keys on the console, and loosened his tie. He looked tired. Not the I need a nap, tired, but the I carry the GDP of a small country on my back, tired. Dinner, he announced. 10 minutes. At the table, the silence was loud. River was pushing peas around his plate, terrified to speak. So, I started, stabbing a piece of steak. River and I studied the Industrial Revolution today. Did you know child labor laws were? River, Ethan cut me off, not even looking up. Your tutor says you skipped the session today. River flinched. Mom was helping me. Ethan finally looked up. His dark eyes shifted to me, filled with mockery. Miss Blake. I'm paying you to be his emotional support, not to sabotage his education. Do you even know the difference between the First and Second Continental Congress? I felt a flush of heat rise up my neck. I know enough not to be a jerk at the dinner table. River gasped. Ethan set his knife down. The metallic clink echoed. Excuse me. You heard me, I said, leaning forward. The 30 million didn't seem worth it in that second. I hated bullies. The kid is terrified of you. He's 16. He lost his memory. Maybe instead of asking about his tutor, you could ask how his head feels. Ethan stared at me. The air crackled. For a long moment, I thought he was going to fire me. My head hurts a little, River whispered, seizing the opening I gave him. Ethan's gaze snapped to River. The coldness fractured, just for a second. Where? Left side. Ethan sighed, a long exhale through his nose. He picked up his wine glass. Schedule a checkup tomorrow. And, good job on the studying. I suppose. It was the closest thing to a compliment River had ever received. The kid beamed. Under the table, River kicked my foot gently in thanks. I looked at Ethan, catching him watching me over the rim of his glass. There was no anger in his eyes. Just curiosity. A month into the contract, the inevitable happened. The annual Vance Charity Gala. Do I have to go? I whined, flopped on Ethan's bed while he adjusted his cufflinks. It's part of the deal, honey, he said, the endearment rolling off his tongue with sarcastic ease. The world needs to see the happy couple. He tossed a garment bag onto the bed. Put it on. I unzipped it. My jaw dropped. It was a custom emerald green silk gown, backless, with a slit that was basically illegal. You have good taste, I admitted. I know my investments, he replied, checking his watch. You have 20 minutes. When I walked down the stairs 20 minutes later, hair swept up, diamonds, fake, or maybe real. I didn't ask, dripping from my ears. Ethan stopped checking his phone. He stood at the bottom of the stairs, looking up. He didn't say a word. He just tracked my movement, his eyes darkening in a way that made my knees weak. Well? I did a twirl. Do I look like $30 million? Ethan stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and placed it on his arm. He leaned close to my ear, his breath warm. You look expensive, Aurora. Let's hope you don't cost me my sanity. The gala was a Shark Tank. Women in couture eyed me with disdain, men eyed me with hunger. I played the part perfectly. I laughed at boring jokes, I held Ethan's arm, and I gazed at him adoringly. Then, she appeared. Vanessa. The ex. The daughter of a senator. Blonde, statuesque, and looking at me like I was a stain on the carpet. Ethan, she purred, ignoring me entirely. I heard you got married. I assumed it was a rumor. You usually have higher standards. The circle of socialites went quiet. I felt Ethan tense up beside me. Before he could speak, I stepped forward, looping my arm tighter around his. And you must be the past, I smiled, sweet as cyanide. Ethan told me about you. You're the one who taught him that personality is more important than looks. Thank you for that lesson. It led him to me. Vanessa turned red. Excuse me. Oh, don't worry, I patted her arm. He still has a soft spot for charity cases. Someone snickered. Vanessa stormed off. I looked up at Ethan, expecting a reprimand for causing a scene. Instead, his lips were twitching. He looked proud. You are dangerous, he murmured. I protect my territory, I shrugged. Is that what I am? Your territory? For 3 years, yes. Later that night, the alcohol was flowing. I went to the bar to get a water. A young guy, maybe 23, leaned against the counter next to me. Rough night? He asked. He was cute. My usual type. Work event, I sighed. You're too pretty to be working. Let me buy you a drink. He reached out to touch my arm. Suddenly, a heavy hand landed on the guy's shoulder. He winced. Ethan was there. He wasn't looking at the guy, he was looking at me. My wife is ready to leave. I didn't know she was married, man, the guy stammered. Now you know. Ethan's voice was low, terrifyingly calm. Walk away. The guy bolted. Ethan grabbed my wrist, not hard, but firm, and dragged me toward the exit. Hey! Slow down. I stumbled in my heels. He didn't stop until we were in the back of the limo with the privacy partition up. He practically threw me into the seat and loomed over me. You were flirting, he accused. I was ordering water. He talked to me. You smiled at him. I smile at everyone. It's called customer service. I don't like it. He was breathing hard, his composure shattered. I don't like him looking at you. I don't like anyone looking at you. Why do you care? It's a contract, Ethan. To hell with the contract. He crashed his mouth onto mine. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was frustration, pent-up desire, and jealousy all mixed into one. I froze for a second, then melted. My hands found their way into his hair, ruining his perfect style. He groaned, pulling me onto his lap, his hands exploring the backless dress, skin to skin. For a minute, the world dissolved. There was no river, number 30 million, just the insane chemistry we'd been ignoring for weeks. He pulled back, breathless, his forehead resting against mine. Aurora, he rasped. Yeah. We're in trouble. Things changed after the gala. We didn't sleep together. Ethan possessed a maddening amount of self-control, but the lines were blurred. He started coming home early. We watched movies. He laughed at my jokes. River was thrilled. See? I told you Dad loves you, he said one morning over pancakes. I felt a pang of guilt sharp enough to cut glass. River was the sweetest kid. And we were lying to him every single day. The breaking point came 2 months in. River was rummaging through the attic, looking for old baseball gear. He came down holding a photo album. Mom, he walked into the living room, where Ethan and I were working on laptops. Who is this? He held up a photo. It was Ethan, 5 years younger, standing next to a beautiful woman who looked vaguely like River. Ethan froze. Give me that. Is this my birth mom? River asked, his voice trembling. You said she died when I was a baby. But this photo is dated 10 years ago. Ethan stood up. River, drop it. No. River stepped back. Why does everyone lie to me? Who am I? Why do I have a different last name on my birth certificate I found in your safe? River. Ethan shouted. The shouting triggered something. River clutched his head, dropping the album. He fell to his knees, screaming in pain. River. I rushed to him, holding his shoulders. Ethan, call the ambulance. River's eyes rolled back. He passed out in my arms. The hospital room smelled like antiseptic and regret. Ethan stood by the window, staring out at the rain. He looked older today. He's my nephew, Ethan said quietly. I looked up from the chair where I was watching River sleep. What? River. He's not my son. He's my older sister's son. She died in a car crash with her husband when River was 6. I took him in. I raised him. But I was 20 years old. I didn't know how to be a father. So I just became the provider. Why did you lie? Easier, Ethan shrugged, but his voice cracked. He needed a dad. I pretended to be one. Then he got older, and I became the strict, cold guardian because I was terrified I'd ruin him like I couldn't save my sister. He turned to me. I never planned for you, Aurora. You were just a variable. A $30 million variable? He walked over, kneeling in front of me. He took my hands. The money doesn't matter. I don't want you to leave when this ends. My heart hammered. Ethan. Ugh, gross. We both jumped. River was awake. He was sitting up, rubbing his temples. He looked at Ethan. Then he looked at me. The confusion in his eyes was gone, replaced by a horrifying realization. River. I whispered. Honey. River stared at me, horror dawning on his face. Oh my God. He looked at Ethan. You. Then he looked back at me. You. River. Ethan stepped forward. I remember, River said. His voice wasn't the voice of a child anymore. It was the voice of the 18-year-old, well, 16-year-old pretending to be 18, who had hit on me at a basketball court. I remember the bar, River said, pointing a shaking finger at me. I remember you said you liked my abs. I remember I lied about being a college freshman. He turned to Ethan, his face turning red. And you? You told me she was my stepmom. You paid her to be my mom. River, calm down, Ethan said sternly. Calm down. You're macking on my girlfriend. She was never your girlfriend. Ethan snapped. You knew her for 24 hours. You're 16. She's 25. Age is just a number. River yelled. Jail is just a room. I yelled back. Silence filled the hospital room. River looked at me, betrayed. Sis, you promised. You said no family drama could stop you. River, I said gently. I thought you were 18. When I found out you were 16, I was going to break up with you. That night. Before the accident. River's face crumbled. The teenage bravado vanished. He looked like a little kid again. You didn't like me. I like you, I said. You're a great kid. But I'm not your girlfriend. And I'm not your mom. River looked at Ethan. So, you guys are together now. Ethan looked at me. He didn't let go of my hand. Yes. River gagged. I'm gonna be sick. Literally. Get out. Both of you. The drive home was silent. When we got to the mansion, I went straight to my room and started packing. Ethan stood in the doorway. What are you doing? He remembers, I said, throwing clothes into my suitcase. Contract fulfilled. Or voided. Whatever. I can't stay here, Ethan. It's too weird. He's humiliated. If I stay, he'll hate you forever. I don't care about the contract, Ethan said, stepping into the room. Stay. I can't. I zipped the bag. I need time. You need to fix things with River. Actually fix them. Not with money, but by being his uncle, or dad, or whatever he needs. Aurora. Transfer the rest of the money, Ethan, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. A deal's a deal. I walked past him. He grabbed my arm. For a second, I thought he would beg. I love you, he said. I froze. My breath hitched. I looked at him, this cold, arrogant, beautiful man who had learned to sleep on a couch for me. I know, I whispered. But you have a son to raise. I pulled my arm free and walked out. 3 months later. I was back in my tiny apartment. The 30 million sat in my bank account, untouched. It felt dirty. I was working at a coffee shop because I was bored and depressed. One iced Americano, a familiar voice said. I looked up. River stood there. He looked taller. He was wearing a varsity jacket. River, I breathed. Hey, he said awkwardly. Can I talk to you? My break was in 5 minutes. We sat at a corner table. How's your dad? I asked. Uncle Ethan, River corrected. He's miserable. He works 20 hours a day. He fired 3 assistants. He doesn't smile. I looked down at my hands. I was mad, River said. Really mad. Felt like you guys played me. But, he explained it. He told me he was trying to help me recover. And he told me he fell in love with you by accident. River took a sip of his coffee and grimaced. Too bitter. Anyway. I'm 16, Aurora. I get it now. You were way too old for me. And honestly, you're kinda messy. You snore. I laughed, tears pricking my eyes. I do not. You do. Dad misses the snoring though. River reached into his backpack and pulled out a thick envelope. He told me to give you this. He said he was too coward to come himself because you ignored his texts. I opened the envelope. It wasn't a check. It was a contract. Title, Contract of Life Partnership. Party A, Ethan Vance. Party B, Aurora Blake. Terms. 1. Party A promises to listen to Party B's bad jokes forever. 2. Party A will not work past 6 p.m. 3. River Vance approves of this union, signed, River. 4. No monetary compensation provided. Payment is 1 arrogant billionaire's heart. I looked up. River was grinning. He pointed out the window. Standing in the rain, looking like a soaked, pathetic, incredibly handsome puppy, was Ethan. He was holding a canvas tote bag, my cheap $5 tote bag I'd left behind. I ran. I ran out of the coffee shop, into the rain. Ethan. He turned, his hair plastered to his forehead. Aurora. I didn't let him finish. I launched myself at him. He caught me, spinning me around, burying his face in my neck. You idiot, I sobbed. You sent a teenager to do your dirty work. I was afraid you'd say no, he mumbled against my skin. The contract, did you sign it? I don't have a pen, I said, pulling back to look at him. He smirked, that rare, genuine smile that made his eyes crinkle. Verbal agreement works. Then yes. He kissed me. It tasted like rain and coffee and forever. Behind us, inside the shop, River was filming us with his phone. I flipped him off over Ethan's shoulder. River gave a thumbs up. So, Ethan said, pulling back. River has a parent-teacher conference next week. His grades are slipping again. I groaned, resting my head on his chest. Don't tell me. You want me to go? Well, Ethan kissed my forehead. You are his aunt. Or stepmom. We'll figure out the title. Let's stick with mom for the PTA, I laughed. I love seeing the look on those rich ladies' faces. Whatever you want, honey, Ethan said. Whatever you want. And for the first time, that honey wasn't an act. It was the only truth that mattered.